Now the first is, you picture the managed lanes as these green lines. They just travel right through here. They have no interface in Sandy Springs. We've tested a modified interchange configuration at Roswell Road, which really includes Sandy Springs Circle. The designers call this a split diamond.
What was Revive285, right? And how it applies to Sandy Springs? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. We're working with the Georgia Department of Transportation and the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority, developing a concept for improving the top end of I-285. And that work also involves looking at environmental impacts to satisfy the federal environmental process.
And in how many ways does this project potentially affect Sandy Springs?
Well, in many ways. Some positive and some potentially negative. Like any important project, there will always be impacts. But the positive benefits that we see of investments in the corridor are reduce the travel congestion, improve traveler safety, and improve overall mobility in the whole northern metro area.
So what about Allen Park? What do you need the council to sign off on the Allen Park part of the project? What do you need the council to do here?
Well, there is a city park called Allen Park adjacent to I-285, and a small sliver of property would need to be acquired by the Georgia DOT for part of the improvements on I-285. Because it's a city park, we have to go through a process, work with the city to make sure that any potential negative impacts are mitigated and their concerns are met with regard to the park.
And so it's because it's a city park, you need them to approve that acquisition, or you need them to what?
We need them either to approve the acquisition or let us know what other measures would be necessary so that they could approve it.
But they wouldn't be signing on for anything like what you were talking about with regard to Sandy Springs Circle, right? They wouldn't.
No.
What would happen to Sandy Springs Circle? You've got a couple of different ideas about how that would affect that.
Right. In our work thus far, we've tested several design options which potentially could include access from 285 to Sandy Springs Circle. One concept would be for just general traffic. The other concept would be that future managed lanes would have access to Sandy Springs Circle. And of course, there's always the option that no access would be provided at Sandy Springs Circle.
So basically, there's an option to not do it at all?
Yes.
And what would the earliest do you think that they would even be able to get to Sandy Springs Circle would be if you got the notice of decision and?
If all the chips fell in the right places, at the very earliest, you'd be looking at probably 5 or 6 years from now.
So 5 or 6 years at the earliest?
At the very earliest.
What's the more likely timeline?
Well, anybody's guess, but I would say 10 to 15 years is probably more likely.